Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome to Cars with Ben, and in today's video I'm going to continue my most popular series. It is the most unreliable cars UK edition. Now these are all taken from Autocar and Which, so not every car you'll see on here is necessarily bad, it just means it was surveyed higher, as I know a lot of people have commented that before. So it doesn't mean the car's bad, it's just higher on the list. Hope you enjoyed the video, let's go. For my first choice of car today, we have a specifically BMW German option. It is the BMW X6. Now, a car that probably a lot of people are familiar with by now because it has been in production from 2007 and still is in production right now. The model years have changed slightly, had slightly facelifted versions, but the one specifically I'm talking about today is really the 2014 to 2019 model. This car had a terrible reliability rating of 88.2% in the survey. Now, it wasn't the worst compared to like Range Rovers that we've seen, but it was pretty awful, and I'll tell you why. Just over 31% of X6s went wrong, and for that, they were gearbox issues. There was a lot of issues with small faults within the gearbox. So other problematic issues were that exhaust, infotainment, interior trim. Generally small things, yes, but overall that increased the issues of it coming onto the most unreliable cars. And also, because it's a BMW, it's going to cost a lot to run because they are expensive to maintain. And this is a big X6. If anyone knows or owns an X6, it's a pretty hefty car to run and put petrol in, and it just seems so unnecessary, especially in the UK. But one thing to note is that 3/4 of the work done were faced with bills ranging from £50 to £750. So yeah, making it one of the most unreliable cars in the UK. For number 2, we have a car you probably weren't expecting to be on this list. It is actually the Ford S-Max, according to Autocar. Now, this surprised me because I thought all Fords were very reliable, but according to the reliability rating, this had an 86.5% rating on Autocar, meaning that it was up there at number 16. Now, obviously, these are in no particular order. They're all random, don't forget. But that meant 36% of S-Maxes that were surveyed went wrong. And most people just name things such as bodywork and battery and non-engine electrics necessarily being the issue, but bodywork was the highest thing on there. Now, other issues were fuel systems, infotainment, which is obviously a common one on these cars, which meant that the car could still be driven, yes, but 2/3 were in less than a week, and all costs, to be fair, for Ford were covered by warranty. So that's a really good thing for Ford. Now, the Ford S-Max has been around from 2006 and onwards, and the model year I'm looking at here is a 2015 to present. So if you do have a 2015 to present, just watch out and be careful, because a lot of the issues that came with the S-Max now are typically bodywork and things that, can be fixed. The car's still drivable, so actually it's not that bad. And if you do want one of these, don't let it put you off, because it's still an excellent family car, and it's just a shame that it's put on this list again, because I know a lot of people will say, well, it's not an unreliable car then, but this is just based off the survey. So yeah, there it is, the Ford S-Max at number 16 on the list. At number 3 on the list is a car you probably didn't expect to see either. It is the Dacia Sandero. Now, the Dacia, or Dacia Sandero, however you like to call it, is effectively a Renault car underneath, so it should be fairly reliable. It does come with that French build. Now, that's not necessarily always a good thing. As we know, the Dacia Sandero has been around for quite some time now and has been UK's cheapest car for a very long time. I do think it has been overtaken by something else. And, a £7,000 you cannot really complain because it is the cheapest car. However, you still don't want it to break. And with that in mind, owners have told us that 21% of previous Sanderos, this is the original 2013 one, went wrong in some form. And they were bodywork, engine electrics, interior trim, and then they were followed by gearbox and clutch. Now, even though it is cheap, yes, you've got to expect what you're going to pay for here. But you don't want a car going wrong when, even if it is £7,000, and this is just the base model. And yes, they've got better over time, I will admit, they've facelifted it, but a lot of owners face £750 bills, and I'm sorry, but that's just not acceptable in a car that you buy to be cheap. You don't expect to pay up to £1,000 just to repair it. Now, this one might trigger a lot of people, and I wasn't expecting it either, but it is on the list. I promise I will link it. It is the Volkswagen Golf Mark 7, 2013 to 2020, specifically the diesel version. Now, if you have a Golf, you might actually know that this does happen quite often, and it has been the case with an 83.6% reliability rating, so it's been dropping quite a bit. Now, yes, you do see a lot of Golfs, I will admit. However, that doesn't mean that it isn't unreliable in some form, and because there's more in production, that means there's more to go wrong. So think about it like that. So diesel Golf suffered twice as many issues than petrol models. Now petrol, fine, but with 36% of them striking trouble. So this means that they were bodywork, battery, engine, gearbox, clutch, any electrics, non-electrics, even non-electric stuff. A quarter of faulty cars that were diesel couldn't be driven and took up to 1 week to repair. Now, nearly a quarter of these were done under warranty, but a small percentage did have to pay up to £500, £700, £1,000, which is a lot for a Golf when you're spending all that money for a premium car, especially in the German brand. They've been really building the last few years and really doing a great job with the Golf. A lot of people love them, but that diesel engine once again has proved that not only is it dirty, but it's also pretty unreliable because of the way it's made, not just the engine, but even in the infotainment. So I'm assuming that affects petrol as well. So there you are, the Mark 7 Golf. At number 5, we have another dirty diesel, and it is the Seat Leon from 2013 to 2020. Now, this is a car I actually really like. This can be the FR, potentially the Cupra as well, and the standard models, which covered quite a lot with a reliability rating of 82.7%. So, what is wrong with the Seat Leon? Because I like the Seat Leon. I think it's quite a reasonable car, and I probably would choose it over a Golf. Owners of diesel Leons had almost 4 times as many problems than petrol engines, so obviously this is an engine issue here and not just the car itself. With 40% of those going wrong, which is a huge number, most of them were unreliable to the family car, and the battery was quite a big issue, probably the biggest issue Seat reported in this list, followed by aircon, bodywork, brakes, most of the engine, as well as interior trim. So again, stuff that could happen on the petrols as well, which I don't really get on this list, but this is what it says, and this is what I'm giving to you guys as information. Now, a third of the cars which had the diesel engine was undrivable, so that meant that most of the work was done under warranty. However, owners have noted to pay up to £500. But the main point is, because there's more in production, that has meant it has been more unreliable. So there you are, the Seat Leon at number 5 on the list, going slowly up. And finally, everyone, the car you've been waiting for, it is the Porsche Boxster S from 2016. Now, yes, there are Range Rovers and other cars like Teslas I've covered in other videos. If you want to check that out, go and check them, because this is a slightly lower down the line unreliable cars. But we have the Porsche Boxster S at the top of this particular list for most unreliable on this video, which means it is the 718 Boxster as well. So that is the 2016 version, and these came with about 295 horsepower and a lovely 38.2 mpg. But what was wrong with the Boxster? Well, this car had a reliability rating of 82.5%. Owners reported 25% of their cars suffered a fault, and a worrying 10% of those concerned with an engine. Now, if you can't remember, the engine is almost mid-engine, sort of rear-rid, so that means it's difficult to get to and more maintenance. Along with that, aircon, engine, and electrical problems were the case, and it's a shame because this Boxster is a fantastic car, but it just scored so much lower than a lot of the coupes and convertibles in its category, and with that, it's a shame that it made this list because it is more maintenance. Now, if you've ever owned a Porsche, you'll know that the maintenance is high, no matter what it is, from bottom to top. So that obviously includes as well. And for the majority of Porsche owners, this is an entry level, and you don't really want to be paying that sort of price on reliability. Hey everyone, hope you've enjoyed today's installment of Most Unreliable Cars. I've really enjoyed making this series, and I will continue to keep making this series. If you do have any other ideas, let me know down below in the comments. Also, if you're new here, please subscribe. Consider subscribing because I make weekly car content, and I love making car content for people and gaming related content. So if you are new, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next car content video.